We all know that this stadium looks great under the lights. But the question is, how well does it look under different kind of lights? Hollywood's lights. How many TV shows and movies have there been that have featured this beautiful stadium? Well, a lot less than it deserves. Welcome to 25 years of history and trivia at Oracle Park. Baseball has long been the backdrop of movies for years, with many spectacular and some not so spectacular movies getting filmed at them. Although back in the 90s, filmmakers seemed to think that baseball stadiums were interchangeable, such as in the 1996 film The Rock, when a rocket was headed towards...
What's the goddamn heading?
Heading 185 degrees south-southeast.
Speed.
300 knots. It's headed right at Oakland.
Football game.
Yeah, that's not the Coliseum. So Candlestick stood in for Oakland there. It's ironic because though 1996's The Fan did correctly use Candlestick exteriors in its football configuration, notice how there's no actual bullpens on the field? That's because this isn't Candlestick. It's Angels Stadium acting as a stand-in. That's pretty wild because 1994's Angels in the Outfield was set around the then California Angels, and even though they used two different versions of then Anaheim Stadium for exteriors, this interior is definitely not Anaheim Stadium. That is the Oakland Coliseum, pre-Mount Davis. No lie, one of my favorite reasons to revisit this film is to see the Coliseum before it was ruined. Offhand note, I love that Disney had the budget for these angelic special effects, but still used paper cutout fans for the sparsely attended game. Anyway, when it came to Oracle Park, that place is too iconic to ever portray any other stadium, nor have any other stadium play it in a movie. But how many movies has it actually been in? P.S. Don't trust AI. They got almost everything wrong in this AI summary. Thanks, Google. Surprisingly, there's been only one movie filmed here, 2015's San Andreas. Yep, the rock silly earthquake disaster film was the only film where Oracle Park plays any sort of a decent role. First, the main characters parachute into the park, leading to a standard eye roll at an attempt at humor for these types of movies.
It's been a while since I got you to second base.
And not long after they arrive, the truly destructive earthquake hits, lasting long enough for The Rock to be a hero, as both Juan Marichal statue and the stadium collapse around them. They say you're not a landmark until you're destroyed in a movie. Congrats. The good news is that this movie is not your only starring role for your favorite stadium, because television has far more often visited the park. I have to start with Nash Bridges, a San Francisco set cop show starring Don Johnson and Cheech Marin that was filmed actually in San Francisco, unlike certain other San Francisco-based shows. Looking at you, Monk. An early episode even featured Candlestick Park and guest starred Barry Bonds, though he wasn't playing himself, and he's not the last guest starring giant you'll see this video. For reasons, the cops were headquartered on a barge, and for a while that was docked at Pier 48 while the stadium was being built just across McCovey Cove. So for a couple of seasons, that was the background of the show, at least in part. But in the final season, the stadium appeared several times. The reboot of the old sitcom Fuller House also featured the stadium, in an episode where one of the main characters was dating Hunter Pence, showing off his TV personality tools here even before he retired. Props to Fuller House for actually shooting at the park, but some of the representations are hilarious, like this swing leading to this ball somehow landing in a kid's glove in the port walk. But the most unrealistic part is this, where a character offers to buy his crush a game-worn, signed World Series Tim Lincecum jersey, and it cost...
That'll be $247.
Whoa.
Yeah, even through inflation and tariffs and everything else, there's no way that jersey ever cost that little. But I do give Fuller House props for this scoreboard graphic, showing that not a single Dodger has had a hit all season. Yeah, I loved that. Another show that visited the stadium was HBO's Silicon Valley. The season 2 premiere episode found the group getting courted by investors who were hosting a special night at the ballpark where people could take batting practice off a real pitcher. But of course, none of these computer engineers do. The park is basically used as a joke. How Silicon Valley folks spend big for special events that they don't really appreciate just to say that they were there. And it works, maybe much to the chagrin of the Giants' business sales team. Oracle Park's most recent appearance was on Netflix's A Man on the Inside starring Ted Danson. One episode features two characters watching a game at the park, and as a former film person and a guy who did a little amateur production work, good job choosing to do the scene on the arcade where you only need a couple of rows of extras. Although Ted Danson is ironically unfamiliar with the game, considering his most famous TV role.
That's okay, I don't really understand baseball. Like, what just happened there?
Are you kidding me?
That said, props to this show getting a lot of the details right down to the section number that they are sitting in.
4-9.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps the best representation of the stadium was in the Fox show Pitch, a show that MLB partnered on about a young woman trying to be a major league pitcher with the San Diego Padres. One episode features a road trip to San Francisco, where the Padres' San Francisco-born manager takes his young pitcher on the town to help her mindset.
And you are going to enjoy the best gnocchi outside of Italy served by waiters who knew DiMaggio.
I love that this show recognizes San Francisco's baseball pedigree. While the show's heroes are on the visiting team, they do get the game right, with Kruk and Kuip heard for a moment.
We head into the top of the sixth inning, and Levan Duarte digs in.
And the show only got one thing wrong, showing the Giants game score on the hand-operated out-of-town scoreboard. Like, you were so close to getting the park right, Fox. Come on. One thing in Hollywood is true. You probably haven't made it until you get mentioned in another certain Fox show, The Simpsons. And sure enough, Bart turned the many names of the stadium into a joke.
This isn't the game I grew up with. The game played in the misty ballparks of Enron Field, or Pac Bell, then SBC, now AT&T Park.
Obviously, this episode was old enough that they were not able to predict the next name change in 2019. But perhaps the most absurd appearance of the stadium in pop culture wasn't in a movie or a TV show. It was in a book. Meg, Primal Waters was a 2004 novel and the second sequel of the book Meg, a novel of deep terror, about a giant prehistoric shark called a megalodon. Yes, the book was loosely adapted into an action movie with Jason Statham, but it did not include this scene. In this book, well, come on, Pacific Bell Park has a cove next to it. This is a book about a gigantic shark. You can imagine what happens next. Honestly, this cove is not deep enough for a megalodon. I'm not entirely sure it's deep enough for an actual great white shark to do much. But the most absurd thing about this book is that the shark attack happens as Barry Bonds' career home run record is being broken by Philly slugger Pat Burrell. Seriously. One quick bonus movie clip. This isn't truly Oracle Park, but the Lefty O'Doul Bridge does have a big-time movie spot in the 1985 James Bond movie A View to a Kill, where Bond is being chased by the Keystone San Francisco cops through 1980s San Francisco streets, culminating with the Lefty O'Doul Bridge, allowing Bond to escape in humiliating fashion for the cops.
Harris? You can forget about that sergeant promotion. You're going to pay for this vehicle. $100 a month out of your paycheck. Well, that is the extent of the IMDb credits for Oracle Park. At least, all the ones I could remember. Did I miss any? And frankly, Hollywood, just between you and me here, this stadium needs a better story. The Giants need a better story. Our cinematic experience cannot be encapsulated by the fan long term. So come on, let's get some screenwriters on it. You already got a beautiful set. Take advantage of it. Let me know if I did miss any movies or TV shows. The comments are down there. I appreciate you being in there. And I'll talk to you next week.